We are in Tenorio Volcano National Park today to check out one of the most famous waterfalls in Costa Rica, Rio Celeste. This amazing waterfall that's colored blue due to the volcanic minerals in it is actually the combination of 3 different rivers where the different minerals come together to form this bright blue color that's seen on postcards, Instagram posts, and videos all over the world. So this waterfall is definitely not off the beaten path these days. When I was here 5 years ago, it was actually a totally different path on the other side of the river. It wasn't paved. It was, dirt path the whole way. But now, since it's become so well known, there's a much stronger infrastructure built because it gets a lot more traffic from tourism, which is a good thing and a bad thing. They put more restrictions on you, how close you can get to the waterfall. Supposedly you're not supposed to go in the water. So there's more restrictions because of that. I'm always of the opinion that the more people that we can get out to enjoy nature and see how beautiful it is, eventually that will lead to more people, helping to protect nature, seeing the beauty and the value of nature and understanding why we need to protect it. So while I don't always like to go to spots that are overrun with tourists, there is a value in ecotourism. Of course, there's also the paradox of ecotourism where unfortunately it leads to more degrading of the environment and oftentimes, vandalism and garbage and stuff like that. But so far, from what I've seen in the national parks in Costa Rica, that isn't a problem yet. The other issue when you get a situation like this when a place becomes really popular with tourists, the price of admission goes up exponentially. So today the price of admission was 28 bucks for both of us, so $14 a piece. They charge less for children and they charge less for native Costa Ricans. We also paid $2 for parking at a soda across the street. A soda is like a little cafe, roadside stand where you can get a quick meal. The park doesn't actually have parking here, but most people come from other tourist areas, La Fortuna, and they take tour buses here. The park opens at 8 o'clock in the morning, so if you want to beat the masses of tourists, you want to get here as soon as they open, because most of the tour buses leave La Fortuna at around 7 or 8. So they get here, it's about a 2-hour drive, so they get here around 9 or 10. So if you get in at 8, right now we're the only people on the trail. There's a few other early risers behind us, but if you want to have it all to yourself, more or less, the earlier the better. Well, when we were here 5 years ago, it was much more rustic. You had to climb down on the opposite side with muddy roots, and there was not really an established trail. It's a little more developed than I usually like to do. It's still beautiful. When I talked to the ranger, he said the color is 75% because of all the rain they've been getting lately. It washes sediment into the water. It dilutes the color a little bit. It's still beautiful. No swimming. Obviously people have gotten killed here and severely injured because it's very rough. So you can see in the background, or you might be able to see in the background with my foggy lens, is bubbling up here. It's releasing sulfur gas. It's a pungent smell of rotten eggs. And I don't think it's a hot springs, but it probably does have some thermal effect, releasing a little bit of heat, so it's probably like a warm spring, because I don't see a lot of steam rising off of it, but definitely some sulfur coming out of there. So right here, we're at the source of where Rio Celeste gets its blue color from. You can see there's a mixture of two rivers, and the minerals from each river mix to form this light blue color. And so it's that one river has a certain set of minerals, the other river has another set of minerals, and when they combine, they form that beautiful blue color that gives Rio Celeste its name. Celeste means light blue. Beautiful day out here at Tenorio Volcano National Park. You can see Rio Celeste. It's a beautiful waterfall. Right now it's pretty rainy. I was told that despite December, January being the high tourist season, the much better weather for Costa Rica in this region is actually in September, October, and there's a lot less people here. So keep that in mind if you're planning a trip. It's a beautiful waterfall. It's not necessarily off the beaten path. More people know about it. There's tour groups, and the trail was pretty muddy today in some parts, but definitely not anything too off the beaten path. Saw little kids doing it, saw old people doing it, saw really overweight people doing it. So there's no excuse for you to get out there and find your own adventure and be infamous.
Infamous.